we have Alex, who has come to share his vape story because he's going to be social with his vape life. So, Alex, how long were you a smoker?
Actually, no, I'm good. Believe it or not, I started when I was 13, so that's a bad thing all on its own. But I smoked all the way up until I was 19 entirely, and then so after that I quit basically cold turkey after I switched into vaping. I actually got into dripping, thank God, from two of my best friends. And if it wasn't for that, actually I'm here with them on their behalf, and I'm actually working a booth with them right now. Shout out to Mac McKelly, shout out to Dustin Long for everything that they've done for me as a person, for everything they've brought me up to. But I went probably in total, shot in the dark, I'll probably say about 7 years smoking through and through. And by the time I was ready to completely start slowing down, I cracked into almost having 2.5 packs a day. So I started off 24 milligram, and that's pretty much where it started. I was vaping consistently every day.
So, when did you start vaping?
I actually started vaping when I turned, I want to say, like, I basically was breaking into 18. I started a little bit prior to that. My mom was nice enough to actually buy me my first vape pen. We bought it from a little shop in Canton, Ohio, which is where I'm from. I'm happy enough to say the fact my mom was nice enough to do that because, she wasn't even supplying my habit. It was more along the lines I was doing it underneath of even her nose. The only thing she noticed was the cigarette smell when I came home. She never found the packs of cigarettes, nothing like that. But I started vaping roughly about 17 and a half.
So, what device and nicotine strength did you start on?
I started off on if I remember right, it was just a little EVOD battery, I think it was a 650 battery, and it was a Kanger T3D tank.
Again, shout out to Kanger. Kanger is killing it today with the being the magical unicorn that's helped a lot of people that we've talked to today quit smoking, even myself. Mine was a Kanger sub box.
It was that, and then not even, I think it was like 4 or 5 months after that, I upgraded to a 1100 battery that my mom actually had given me from her first vape pen because she bought the bigger battery. And then after that, I went ahead and I said, screw it. And I just turned 18. There was still a shop near my house, and they hadn't gotten shut down or anything like that, thank God, because if not, I wouldn't have had anywhere else to go. Shout out to Old Smoke in Belton Village, Canton, Ohio, by the way. You guys have been awesome since day one. I bought my first premium line juice from them and all that jazz, but that's about as much as I can say about that. I got an Aspire Nautilus Mini as well. That was my second tank I ever bought. Love that tank, by the way. Shout out to Aspire.
So did you dual use for a while, or were you able to make the switch over to vaping pretty quickly?
It took me 2 years.
Wow, 2 years.
It was honestly a weird thing because the mixture between vape and smoke in the lungs is not a good idea. I can already tell you that right now because I was BMX riding for 4 years. I was a smoker while riding. I was making the switch when I started, when I basically was on the border of, I didn't want to say quit riding, but I was still in that, I wanted to, but then my lungs wouldn't keep up. So eventually the love for BMX riding and all that kept me wanting to quit because of the ability to be able to breathe better and just being able to understand, why are my lungs causing so many problems for me? Well, now it comes full circle because if it wasn't for vaping, I wouldn't be able to breathe. I mean, it's that simple. When I used to smoke and ride BMX, it was terrible. I would get wheezy, I'd be coughing up. A polite way of putting it, oysters. It's foul as hell.
We are coughing up oysters. We are coughing up oysters over here.
It's foul as hell to say, but it's the truth. I mean, it's like when you are riding your bike and all of a sudden you just get like, okay, and you just cough up everything. It looks like you ate for lunch. Not a good idea. Not good at all. But yeah, vaping basically kept me riding my bike. It was one of those things. That was the thing for me. I was a flatland BMX rider. I loved it to death. It was one of my ways to actually get myself out, active, taking care of myself. And that was basically my only niche, because on top of that, I dropped out of school at on my sophomore year, and that just turned all bad news from there on out. I mean, I was slowly going down a bad path. I started drinking, all that. Vaping and BMX riding, thank God, got me away from all of that. I got out of a depression because of it, because I started meeting new people, which is this is where this all led me to now. I'm blessed to be where I am now, thousands upon thousands of people that honestly have the exact same feeling that I have now. Like vaping has kept them going. So that's that.
So, what changes in the quality of your life have you seen since you started vaping?
Being able to breathe. That's the God's honest truth. If nobody has really quit cigarettes completely and gone to vaping, you're missing the point. It's the obvious point to quit cigarettes to go to vaping, not double dip essentially. Don't do it. I just explained that because of that reason. You're not gonna feel any better. If anything, it's gonna feel like you have a fireball in your lungs. It's not a good feeling at all. And you're ODing on nicotine. You start feeling lightheaded, sick to your stomach. The whole 9 yards. When you start getting that way, and I already have anxiety problems. I love nicotine, but it causes me to also have anxiety problems.
Sure, it's a stimulant. Absolutely.
Exactly. So with that being in mind, I do have that plus ADHD. Nicotine is good for me because it keeps me moving, which is great for my health because obviously I'm active. But the other problem with it is I have to be careful about it because my anxiety, and I also have a heart condition to some degree, which has luckily enough subsided over the last couple of years. I went to a convention back in 2014 with the same group of friends. Actually, I'm a part of Continuous Current. Shout out to Kyle Kruger. If you listen to this, I miss you. I miss CC. I miss the family. But it's luckily enough subsided because there was a time where I was even at the booth in Indiana vaping the fort during this convention, and my heart would randomly have palpitations, and it'd be like, what is this? I went to the doctor after the convention, really worried for my health. Came around to it, they found out that I have an irregular heartbeat. So with that being in mind, there's just long story of that, how bad that can get if you don't control it. Which luckily enough, I've learned to control it over time and manage it with not only vaping because it's obviously healthier for your heart. It's not all the chemicals and everything else that gets in your bloodstream that's going to cause you to get worse. So with that being in mind, it's actually made me better. But that's pretty much the main thing of it all. Other than that, stay hydrated, folks. Don't screw up on that. Stay hydrated if you're vaping. That's the main thing.
So, were there any other methods that you tried to quit smoking, like Chantix or the patch or Nicorette or anything like that?
I tried for 3 weeks, straight up cold turkey. I tried. And
How'd that work for you?
No. To be 110, no. Don't try to cold turkey it. Don't do it because your body will go into almost a shock.
Punishes you.
Exactly. Like you'll start feeling more sick than you do while you're smoking, or if you try to quit vaping right away, you have to it's kind of like really bad example, but it's honestly in the same aspect because nicotine in its own way, shape, and form is kind of its own. I don't know how to really even put it. It's a chemical. It really is. And there's always a thing called chemical abuse. Too much of the chemical can cause you harm, but a little bit in proportion can help you if it's the right one. So it's like one of those things, if you wean yourself off it, it's great. But if you just go head on into it, you're going to start having relapse, essentially, which is, most of the time.
So, Alex, if you could tell your senators and your state representatives one thing, what do you want them to know?
Vaping has and will save lives. It will. Whether or not you believe that, that's your guys' own verdict at the end of the day. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a young kid. I'm not an elder or anything like that. I'm still young in my years. I'm only 24. Vaping has improved my life over the last 5 years. And I'm proud to say that. And I know every one of these people in this room, this big-ass room, would tell me flat out that vaping has saved their lives. And it's improved it in more ways than one. So do us a favor. Save vaping. Don't let it leave. Keep us around just as much as we want you guys to be a wholehearted person and keep us around just as much as we know for a fact that you guys want us to be around. You don't want to take an innocent life by a pointless chemical or just flat out get rid of cancer sticks, please.
All right, Mr. Alex, thank you for sharing your vape story with us. Everybody's vape story matters.
Everyone deserves their voice. I'm a shy kid out of Canton, Ohio. I ain't got a whole lot going for me, but you know what? I'm glad to be here, and I'm blessed to end up having the opportunity. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.